Hello guys, and welcome back to our third episode on how to program C++. Today we're going to be learning the basic concept of C++ program, because my assumption is that you might have been copying and pasting, you don't exactly know what you are doing or what it means. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain the syntax of this program we've created in our previous episode, and hopefully by the end of this episode you will of course have a pretty well understanding of the program. And if you don't watch my previous episode, I recommend you go back and watch that episode and then come back to this conceptual one. Okay, now let's get the ball rolling. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first line here. The hash symbol here, or pound sign, is called Preprocessor. It includes the library of C++ into the C++ program before the program execution. And the word include here, as the name implies, basically include header files into the program. And the IO stream within the less than and greater than sign stands for input and output stream. It is a collection of predefined methods or functions. So in general, the first line here is called a header file library, which actually allow us to work with input and output objects, such as the cout we use here. And basically what header file library does is that they add more functionality to our C++ program. So let's go ahead and move to this second line here, which says user namespace std. So user namespace std simply means that you can use names for objects and variables from the standard library. And the line 3 here, int main, this function, or this int main is actually called a predefined function. So the int keyword here is known as the return type. So here is the return and here is the return type. And they are related because if you look at what we are returning here, we are returning a 0. And a 0 is an example of integer. So the return type is int, which basically means integer. By the way, if you don't know what an integer is, it's just a positive or negative whole number or 0. But don't worry, we're going to talk more about it in our upcoming episode when we actually come to talk about C++ data type. So the cout here is a keyword which is used to print data or information onto the display screen. It is always used with the insertion operator, which is this. This is the insertion operator. And in our example here, it's going to be printing hello world to the display screen. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is omitting namespace. You might see some C++ program that runs without the standard namespace library. Well, using this line which says user namespace std can be omitted and be replaced with the std keyword followed by the : operator for some objects. So what I mean by this is actually this line could be omitted. Now if I should remove this line and just try to run the program, it's not going to work. But let me just actually run this program with the user namespace std command and see. Okay, now the program, you see the program works. So let's actually go ahead and remove the line that says using namespace std and see whether the program will run or not. So let's go ahead and remove it. We remove the user namespace std. And let's go ahead and save it and run again. So you see we run into an error. It's not going to work without the user namespace std. So, and what do we say? That the user namespace std simply means that we can use names for objects and variables from the standard library. So the cout here is basically an object from the standard library. And what actually gives us the privilege to use the cout object here is that line here which says user namespace std, because it's what is allowing us to use names for objects and variables from the standard library. So that's why it will not work without the user namespace std. But I've just said that the user namespace std line can be omitted. We can omit it and replace it with the std keyword followed by the : operator. So let's go ahead and replace that user namespace std line with the std keyword followed by the colon operator. So let's go ahead and attach it with the cout here and see whether the program will work or not. So I'm going to go into std colon. So let's go ahead and run the program once again and see whether it will work or not. The program will work because we are being told that we can replace the user namespace std with the std keyword followed by the colon operator. So you see? So yes, our program worked. Hello world. So this is basically how we do it. If you don't want to use that line, user namespace std, you can replace it each time you want to print out something on the screen. You want to use objects such as cout or cin and those sort of things. You then gonna have to prefix it with the std keyword followed by colon operator. And in the last episode, we've used this character, this /n character, and I've told you people that I'm going to explain that in a future episode. So this is the future episode I'm actually talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and simply explain what this /n character means. So this /n character, we use it to insert new line. So let me just go ahead and show you exactly the reason why I use it in my previous episode. As you can see now, if I were to run the program, it will kind of run and say hello world and then go to the next line and give me that default message that says press any key to continue. So I'm going to go ahead and press any key to continue. So I press any key. So let me go ahead and remove this /n character and see and show you people how the program will look without it. The program will look somehow messy. It will be, you see? The program will look messy. It's not going to, this is not how it's supposed to see. I'll say, hello world, press any key to continue. This is not appropriate. So the reason why we actually use that /n character is to actually insert a new line. We're telling it to, okay, go to the next line. Don't attach things together. Okay, what we are basically telling it to just go to the new line. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear it back because it's look nicer with it. So yeah, hello world. Now it's more readable. It's more clean. Okay, so this is actually some basic concept of C++ program. Hope you guys now understand pretty much what exactly is going on and also have better understanding of the program. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about comments in our next episode because comments are really important inside our code. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And until the next one, see ya!